Was it something you did in particular to get consistently profitable?
A lot of traders don't really realize that the psychology has a lot to do with it, right?
When I started doing less was when I started getting more from trading.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Hola Prime podcast. Today, I am joined by two of our trading coaches here at Hola Prime, Michael and Walter. Michael, Walter, how are you guys doing today?
Doing very
Absolutely
well,
awesome.
thank you. Hey guys.
Awesome.
Awesome. And yeah, viewers, you're probably already familiar with Michael and Walter if you've ever tuned into any of the live sessions. But if you're not, they're trading coaches here, both professional traders for many years. I mean, if either of you want to introduce yourself to any new time viewers, please, now's the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael.
So I'm Mike. Everyone calls me FXD Neto is my trading name, what I pretty much go by. Been trading for over a decade now, closer to 12 years. Majority of that time trying and failing, right? Like most of us. Took me I'm one of those guys that took a long time for some reason to wrap my mind fully around it. But over the past 3-4 years, just now got profitable. Full-time trader now, managing over $1 million in capital. So got some investors, got some prop accounts going on, trading those, doing a great job. And yeah, trading coach at a few companies, Hola Prime being one of them. Got my own fund as well. We're teaching traders, gotten them through this entire trading journey, getting the mindset correct, and yeah, just really willing here to lend my expertise.
Awesome. And Walter, please introduce yourself to the viewers.
Of course. So Walter, originally from the UK. I've been trading for over 7 years now, and I would say been profitable for the most part of the last 3.5 years. And yeah, I mean, I specialize mainly in just trading gold to the dollar. Recently picked up Bitcoin dollar last year, so these are my two specialties. But I've over my trading career traded like so many different markets, but these two markets are what I focus on right now. I would also say that I also have a great experience with trading psychology. So part of my degree was actually psychology. I did psychology, politics, economics. But I did took a further study on psychology because I was a lot more passionate as well about the human condition and how our psychology interact with the market. So I'll say that this is part of the reason why personally I saw results in an early stage of my trading career. But yeah, so I mean, I've mentored hundreds of traders over the years. I did have my own like trading platform in the past, but I shut it down because I wanted to spend more time traveling the world. I'm now based in Indonesia, Bali for now until I get bored. But yeah, so that is me.
Awesome. And so this podcast agenda or the question today is how, well, and when we say you, I mean all of us, how we got consistently profitable, right? And I think, Michael, you said you started becoming profitable, what, 4 years ago, roughly, something like that? And Walter, you said about 3-4 years as well. So what I guess the big question is what actually changed for you? What was there, like an aha moment? Was it something you did in particular to get consistently profitable? You know, how did it happen? Michael, if you want to go first.
Oh yeah. So for me, I'll be honest, I watch a lot of videos. I mean, all day I got my AirPod in, listening to podcasts just like these actually. Successful traders, like tips, tricks, and just over time, I've just kind of solely been listening to those. And a few things that I've noticed that these 6, 7, 8 figure traders, they kind of have this certain mindset, and a certain approach to the market. So I was super open-minded. Obviously, I'm getting tired of getting beat up, right? So I'm just looking for any way to help me out. I'm at the moment that Mark Douglas says, please, I'll do anything if I can just figure this out. I'll do it, whatever it takes, right? So for me, it was just more or less, one would be the how Walter was speaking of, a lot of traders don't really realize that the psychology has a lot to do with it, right? Like it's much bigger than you think beginning when you first start trading. You think, hey, I'm gonna get a strategy, learn it, and that's pretty much it. You don't really realize that obviously you can have edge, you can have proper risk management, but for some reason, if you don't have your mind right, you still cannot pull this thing off. right?
Yeah.
So I actually started focusing a lot more on the psychology side because there were plenty of times where I'm taking my trades and I'll break my trading plan, right? And then it comes to that point where it's like, man, had I just did what I said I was gonna do, I would have won that trade.
Yeah.
And then after a while, that happens 50, 60 times, right? And you're like, you know what? Something's gotta give. I need to just listen to what I said I was gonna do before I get in here, right? So that's where Mark Douglas Trading in the Zone comes in at. That's where One Good Trade comes in at. All of these books and just reframe my way of thinking. I'm like, you know what? They're onto something. And in addition to that, coupled with the fact that a lot of these huge guys, I mean, these guys are making more than 10 million a year and they adopt the same habits. So I'm thinking if I can get a piece of what they're doing, I could be a lot better off on my journey. So yeah, in that sense, obviously, just to kind of wrap it up, would be the mindset piece of it, right? Just looking at it differently instead of me having to come in every day and take trades. I just want to click the mouse. I just really realized, do you want to click the mouse or do you want to make money, right?
Yeah.
And you finally kind of let go of that or shed that skin, so to speak. So definitely at the top of the list would be the mindset piece of it. And then two is journaling my trades. Like I never used to journal my trades. I had no way of tracking it. I didn't know what was working. I didn't know what wasn't working. These mistakes that I kept making, I had no way to really see it with clear data. Until I started journaling my trade. So those two key pieces would be my biggest game changer, right? My aha moment, so to speak. So definitely the mindset shift and also journaling my trades that changed my entire game. I went from losing all the time and getting frustrated to, okay, now this is getting fun. Even though when I lose, I'm like, all right, let's kind of break down, pull back the layer of what happened here. It wasn't my psychology. It wasn't this. Oh, that was a natural loss, right? Or, oh, I need to stop taking level 3 trades like that because I can see my data's telling me that that's where I'm missing a lot of my trades at. And slowly but surely, you refine all of this stuff. Your mind's right now. Now you can go into the market smooth, cool, calm, collected, and boom, profitability was right there.
I absolutely agree. I think we all can relate to that journey. But Walter, please,
Yes.
I'd be interested as well. Is it similar for you? Was it a bit different?
There's some similarities, but my consistency started right after I nearly gave up trading.
Okay.
So that was actually when I had this transition, which happened, and I wasn't aware it happened. But I look back now and I realize it happened because I stopped giving a shit. But just to rewind a little bit back before that, I started trading doing all the things that I was supposed to do right because for me, I was an avid reader. I read quite a lot, so many different books. And, so I already sort of knew to journal. I knew to do all these things. And I kept a meticulous spreadsheet and journal of all my trading and all the setups I took. And but what I found over time was like I would have some form of profitability and then it sort of like backslides and then same pattern over and over again. And then I remember like I had this period of time where like all of a sudden everything that I knew and everything I was doing just stopped working. I was just having loss after loss after loss after loss. All the accounts I built up over time gone. And yeah, and I was like, I found myself in like this deep hole. And psychologically, I was like, damn, this like I've been doing this for like, like at that point it was going into my third year in trading, and I'm just like I had this goal, ambition, everything about how this was going to play out, and it wasn't playing out the way that I anticipated or planned. So I was like, maybe I should just stop this, right? Now for me, like I don't really have. I mean, I can entertain the idea of giving up, but I don't really give up. I just had the idea of it. But anyways, I remember like I went back to my charts. Like I took some time off. So I just went traveling for a bit and seeing some blue seas and the beaches and being a bit depressed, but also being depressed on the ocean. And then yeah, so I had a bit of time off just to get my mind off things. And then I remember going back home, going back to my charts, and all of a sudden I'm just like looking through, and then something just clicked, and I was like, so the system I was trading, it was still there. It's not like the system had stopped working for whatever reason. Mentally, I wasn't perceiving that information because psychologically, this whatever paradigm I was in at the time wasn't allowing me to see the information. So yeah, so I looked back and I realized I was missing something quite crucial that could have simplified my whole system and strategy. So when I saw that, I couldn't unsee it anymore. And then I said, okay, let me just see where I can go with this. But at that point, I was still in this mindset of I've kind of given up, but there was still the excitement because for me, the exciting part about trading is actually reading charts and finding patterns and finding an edge in that. That for me is the exciting part about trading, not the actual trading itself. So I was like seeing these patterns and I was executing according to it. And then like after like a week, it's like I've made money, I'm up. And then I had another positive week, made money, I'm up. And then I had another positive week. And I was like, huh, it's interesting. And then I was like, I don't want to touch this because I know my old pattern is whenever something like this happens, is I try to overanalyze and I try to like dig in. Is like, okay, what am I doing this right? And I was like, I was too scared to want to touch this or do anything different. So I just allowed it to happen. And then I was just having like, even on days where I would like have a losing trade or I would have a losing day, it didn't really affect me. I was like, it is just another day. The next day I'll go again and I'll hit it again. I'll get a winning trade. And then it's just there was this like build up of confidence that just kept happening as a result of this. Um, but the funny thing is, when I started doing less was when I started getting more from trading. So ironically, like the way that I used to journal and keep record of all my trades when I started trading, I don't really do that anymore. Like now what I do is like I just have a notebook in front of me every time I trade. And I just like at the start of my trading session, I just take a rough note of what I'm looking for in the market and I just have something to just record my thoughts. That's all. If someone like were to like flick through my notebook now, they'll just see like random notes. They wouldn't really see like a detailed strategy plan or any of that kind of stuff. Like this is what I used to do in the past. I don't do that anymore. But now I just organically flow with them with price. And as weird as it sounds, that's how I'm still getting results. Yeah, I'm doing a lot less for more, but
Yeah.
I'm not overthinking. I'm not overanalyzing. I just have a very simple system. It indicates I go long, I go long. Indicates I go short, I go short. It indicates I do nothing, I do nothing. And then I go again the next day. So yeah, so that's how it happened. I just went through this period of it was after my worst period in trading, nearly gave up. And then I don't know, I just went back to I took some time off, went back to my charts. And it's
Yeah.
almost as though like everything I'd been learning got digested. And then all I had to do was just allow it to happen. And it happened.
Yeah. It's actually very similar with me as well, because it wasn't just one particular moment that kind of,
Yeah.
magically all of a sudden made me profitable, right? I had a bit of a similar journey in terms of it was like stages, right? So you had the complete newbie beginner stage where I just didn't understand anything. And the reason I was being profitable is because I literally had no clue what I was doing, right? And then,
Right.
as I started learning and actually formulated a strategy that worked on like demos and worked in simulate environments, I always found that on the live account, it was just pure discipline that let me, that really caused problems for me. It wasn't so much the strategy. The strategy on paper and in theory worked, right? It was just I was implementing it wrong. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't actually sticking
Right.
to the strategy. But I remember there was one time where it really just it hit me hard. I had like I think 2 or 3 weeks of consistent profits, and I was doing so well. Like the most money I ever made it at this point in trading, right? I was absolutely smashing it. My win rate was high, my R&Rs were good, everything was just perfect. And I was like, I've done it. I genuinely in my head believed I was invincible. I was the best trader in the world. You know, nothing can stop me now. I was already, browsing Auto Trader for the next car, and all the dreams were there. And then there was one day where I just got so overconfident, right? I over leveraged way too much. I started piling on the orders way too much. And the account just like I wiped out pretty much all my profits in like a matter of like I don't know how long the trade was, but like within an hour it was all gone. And it was from that extreme high to the extreme low. That's when I think it really humbled me so much. Where I was like, no, I have to now. Like, no more.
Yeah.
I have to. I
Yeah.
have to actually change now. I cannot do this anymore. And that's when I wrote down the fundamental rules of don't overtrade, never revenge trade, stay disciplined, wait until the right moment, like all the rules. And I stuck them next to my screen. And no matter what, like I never broke those rules again. And that's when it started working. So essentially, it's psychology. Do you know what I mean? I mean, strategy has a part to play, right? You can't just
Yeah,
flip a
absolutely.
coin or, make
Absolutely.
up something, right? There's got to be some like edge to your strategy, right? But
Absolutely.
the psychology, as you guys were saying, that really is the last piece of the puzzle. And if you don't have that, I just can't see how anyone could consistently become profitable. You might have a good week, you might have a good day, maybe even a good month if you're lucky, but eventually it will come crashing down because
For
for
sure.
me, I just got overconfident, way too cocky, right? But I'm happy it happened at the same time because if it didn't happen,
Mm-hmm.
I think I would still be making the same mistakes. Do you know
Yeah,
what I
those are
mean?
very necessary experiences for your growth as a trader or for any trader. It's like if you don't experience that, if you don't experience that euphoria and acting based on euphoria, then you would never understand the damaging impact it can have on your trading accounts. And it's like it's not that euphoria doesn't happen. Like this past like month, for example, for me has been an absolutely amazing trading month. But now it's like I'm able to identify when euphoria kicks in, and I take steps to control that. So, for example, like I would make sure that I spend my weekend doing something exciting. So like being in Bali is such an advantage because there's just so much I can do. So like last week with my girlfriend, we went out and we just had a whole day. We just made the most out of it. So like just being able to like stay away from the screen, stay away from my charts on the weekend, that helps me to calm myself down so that when I start my week again, I'm starting it like in a relaxed state. Like even like going to the gym between my trading sessions because I trade Asia and London and sometimes New York. So like going to the gym and working out after Asia, that also helps me to control my euphoric moments. So it's like when you experience euphoria, it's nice, but then I think the next step from that is learning how to because you can't completely suppress it completely. Like euphoria is kind of like it's like a draw or it's like coffee, right? If you've never had coffee before you drink it for the first time, you're gonna feel the effects straight away. It's very powerful. But then when you drink, like, if you get used to drinking 2, 3 cups of coffee a day, you no longer feel that buzz. Maybe you
Yeah,
need like 4 or 5 coffees to feel the buzz.
yeah,
And then you drink 4 or 5 a day, you get used to that. You need maybe 7 or 8 to feel the buzz. At that point, it starts getting dangerous. You can risk a heart attack. And so it's like you stop there. But euphoria is the same. It's like the first profitable day you have in trading, you feel this amazing buzz, like, wow, I just made money today. But then when you get used to that, having profitable days no longer give you that high anymore. And then the first profitable week, you're like, whoa, I just had a profitable week, and you get that buzz again. But then it's like after you've had it a few times, it's like it's not a big deal anymore. And then your first profitable month is like, whoa, I just had a profitable month. And then it's like you get that buzz. But then you have it a few times, the euphoria isn't the same. And this is the thing, it's like as traders, you just have to ensure that you're winning, like what you're winning consistently over time so that you're not getting the same euphoric responses every time you like hit a winning trade or every time you hit a big run.
yeah,
But yeah, so like that's been my experience with that.
yeah. And I don't know if it's
Yeah,
the
I
same with.
agree too.
Sorry, go on, Michael, please.
Yeah, I was gonna say definitely agree with that. Like for me, as I mentioned earlier, Sam, I'm here in Mexico, so this is where I live full time. But from Friday, as soon as that market closed, I'm done for the day. I have to get out of here. I have to get out of office. I have to go do something fun, right? For me,
Yeah,
it's water sports or maybe a cenote. I want to go do something on Saturdays. I don't even
yeah,
want to talk about trading, like, right? I don't want to talk
yeah,
about it. I don't want to do anything because the next day, which is Sunday, I'm gonna get right back into my routine, right? Which is
yeah,
Sunday evenings for the most part. I have my sessions with my crew on around 8, so we do a weekly Sunday market review. I'm right back into that routine. But when I come back to the market on Monday, I have this sense of calm. Like I didn't got all that excitement
mm,
out. I'm not all over the place, and
yeah,
I'm ready to just come back to it calm. Versus, remember when you first started, you couldn't wait for Monday to come back around or Sunday so
yeah,
you can start trading again,
right,
right? And typically that early Sunday, Monday is when you make that mistake because you're too excited, right? You're too
Yeah,
excited, you're too giddy like a little kid. So yeah, just finding a way to curve that thoughts and that feeling. Yeah, I literally, Walter, I do the same things every weekend. One of my closest friends, I would tell him like when he first got bit by the bug, so to speak, he would message me or call me on Saturdays about trading. I'm like, dude, do not ask me nothing
Don't
about
talk about
Saturday.
trading.
Yeah, part of
Yeah,
my process is to let it go on Saturday, right? Like, let's talk about
yeah,
this tomorrow, please, 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 please. Let's talk about it
yeah.
tomorrow.
Uh, I know exactly what you mean. Like, I think I remember like one of my major mistakes. I was too eager as well. Like, I wanted to. It was almost kind of. I wouldn't say so much like an addiction. I mean, you could almost classify it as an addiction at first, right? But
Hmm.
it was more like I was impatient, right? Like I wanted everything now. I wanted the profits now. I
Yeah.
wanted like and even if I didn't do anything for the day, like say I just didn't trade, I felt like I wasted, like the whole day was gone and wasted, and I
Hmm.
wasn't productive, and I hated that feeling. Like I hated weekends when I first started because I always
Hmm.
wanted to be in the market, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And yeah, you're right. You got to realize at some point that actually just taking a step back sometimes and it actually works in your favor. Being in the market 24/5 is it's definitely not the right way to do it. You have to kind of like structure and pace yourself with it. And it's
yeah.
funny because like the amount of times I went around that loop, where I would pre-plan, I'd be like, right, if I compound really well, I don't withdraw, I do X amount of percent every day, blah, 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 blah. And I'd have all these figures like worked out of how much I would have in like 6 months' time. Right. Never ever came true. Right. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Because although on paper it looked like a solid plan, it was just so unrealistic, right? And actually enforced bad habits, in my opinion. Whereas
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
now,
how bad I was formed. Yeah.
exactly. Whereas now, I don't even look at the materialistic things anymore. Like if the old me can meet the me now, he'd be very he'd be out trying to spend a bunch of money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Buy stupid stuff and do all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff. Like that's gone now. I don't care about. I much rather have just a security almost. I
Sure.
think it's a
Yeah.
form of maturity
Sure.
as well. Do you know what I mean? Where you're not
It is.
anymore blinded by the flashy things. You don't really care too much about materialistic things, and you just become a bit more mature about the way you handle your money as well. I think that's a huge part. Like if you're
It
dreaming of a
Yeah.
is.
Lamborghini already, like you got to get that dream out your head. I'm not saying you can't have one. I'm
Mhm.
not saying anyone who has a Lamborghini is doing it wrong. Absolutely not. But if you're if you got $500 in your account, you can't be dreaming of a Lamborghini right now. Like dream of $700. Do you know what I mean? Don't dream
Right.
of.
Yeah. I mean, it's not people's fault though sometimes when they have those dreams because it's like you see a lot of social media traders, right? And they promote like a very flashy lifestyle. And it's like, they have Lambos, they have this amazing like materialistic lifestyle. And people they look at trading and they look at traders and they see that, oh, this is what I can achieve with trading. So therefore, this is what I want. And it
Yeah,
can happen in a short space of time. So they look at trading as a way to get rich quick, and that's very dangerous because of course, like most people would fall victim to like the 90-90-90 rule, where 90% of traders will lose 90% of their accounts in 90 days. But then, of course, it's like when you get that maturity and you get that understanding of trading as a career, as opposed to trading as just a way to make quick money, and there is a distinction in that, then it will affect the way that you behave and the way you perceive the market. Because you cannot be getting your endorphins from trading.
yeah,
Like endorphins is like this neurotransmitter you release when you have sex and when you do all these things that makes you feel good, when you eat, when you exercise. But if you're trading and your brain is releasing endorphins from winning, that's so dangerous. Like, it's an activity that is there to create an income for you. But the moment you're getting your endorphins from trading, you're on a slippery slope to becoming a gambler because that is what gamblers do. That's why gamblers gamble. That's why they get addicted to gambling because
yeah,
it's a pleasure activity for them. And that's why, like, for me, it's so important, like trading, because at the start, it was like that. I was very passionate. I was staying up late nights. I was thinking about the markets every single day. On the weekends, I would go on a date and I'll think about trading. I'll think about the market. She's like, "How's your day?" I'm like, "My day's, it's great. I'm just thinking about charts, you know." I'll be laying in bed, I'm thinking about charts. That used to be me, but I realized that the reason I was constantly having the highs and the lows was because I was getting my endorphins from trading. So I was like, okay, I need to find other activities. I need to do other things. Like I gym quite a lot. So I want to do other things I'm passionate about, where that releases endorphins for me. The trading just becomes almost as though I'm just doing a job, like a nine to
Mm,
five, right? And then that's when like really things started making a shift. Again, like after I had that moment of a crash, and then I came back and I almost wanted to give up. Trading literally became like a nine to five for me because I was in a situation where I was in a hole where the only way I was going to get out of that hole was trading.
Mhm.
And I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to go get a job because, well, I'll probably get fired because I hate working for people. I'm pretty stubborn. So like, and yeah, so I like this was the skill set that I built at that point. So this is my way out. So I was like, I just begrudgingly did it, and that's how it became a job, and that's how I really tested it to get the result because I like whenever I get a winning trade, I wasn't getting the endorphin. It didn't feel good, and it didn't feel good. It didn't feel bad. It was just like,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we got another few minutes. So I guess we'll just do a quick conclusion for the viewers, right? So don't turn it into like Walter said, don't make it your primary source of the happy hormone, dopamine, endorphins, whatever it might be, right? Try and release that through other activities, whatever it might be. Be disciplined, I guess, work on your psychology. Don't just keep jumping from strategy to strategy. Find something
Mhm.
that works for you and fits within your plan, but the moment you have one or two bad trades, don't just abandon it and start searching for
Right,
a whole new thing.
right.
It's probably the psychology that's causing that issue. What else could we add to that list for the viewers?
I'd say definitely like you just got to be honest with yourself too, right? That's something we did kind of touch on. Like you have to be honest with yourself. Like if you took a trade that you know you weren't supposed to take because it wasn't in your trading plan, and you lost, and you're like, man, the markets did this. No, 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 no. It's not the markets. It's you. And see, this is an interesting thing, right? Oh, excuse me, guys.
That's
This
all
is an
right.
interesting thing where majority of the time well, excuse me, majority of the time you literally can't there's normally someone to blame, right? Like a boss or someone else, but this is a case where it's
Yeah,
all on you. So you can kind of hide that a little bit, right? But you got to be honest with yourself at the end of the day and say, no, you lost this because you broke a rule, right? So definitely want to add that to it. And of course, I definitely want to say in the beginning, like at least guys, you got to journal because to me, you can't track what
absolutely.
you can't measure, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't
Yeah,
know what's going on. So you kind of got to find a way to track this. Um, yeah,
Data.
I would definitely say those two for sure.
Absolutely.
yeah,
And be balanced, I would say. Don't let every win make you overconfident. Don't let every
Hmm.
loss make you completely depressed where you want to give up, or
Right,
just
right.
treat it, be very balanced. Treat it like a job, like Walter said, nine to
Hmm.
five. No one treats their 9 to 5 job like trading. But
Right,
you know what I mean? Like no one's
right.
excited, like, yeah, I can't wait
Yeah.
Monday.
I'm not
I'm
gonna
gonna do
show up today.
extra
I'm gonna
work.
just go all in. I'm gonna show up to work
yeah.
drunk. Like, no, don't do that.
You gotta treat
There
it
And
are
as
like
there
we
are
all
yeah.
know,
some
as
people
men
like
too,
that.
right? Like there's anytime you're too excited about an activity, and you guys know what activity I'm talking about, it never lasts long, right? Don't go into it with that thought. Like be calm, be cool, be collected. Trust me, you'll have a much better time, all
Yeah,
right?
wise words.
Very,
Trading
very
mimics
true.
life.
Very true.
But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up there. But this was awesome. I think the viewers will get a lot of good knowledge out of this. Just the similarities, and they're probably in this position that we were speaking about. So if you are in that
Yeah.
position, you can relate to anything us three have said. Then there is light at the end of the tunnel. Every trader's gone down that route, down that road. So
Absolutely.
don't get discouraged. You're not, the market isn't just against you. It's literally the journey everyone takes, right? So just carry on, keep cracking, keep working on yourself. Psychology is very important, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And time, it takes time, it takes a bit of experience. You can't do it all right away. Don't
For sure.
Don't have realistic expectations as well. Don't expect a Lamborghini next month. But if you follow the plan properly and you're actually structured, who knows? In a few years, you can have a Lamborghini. That's completely possible, right? So,
Right.
yeah. But if you don't, in a few years, you'll look back and say, "Damn, why didn't I just follow the rules?"
And
I always
the
say
key
the
word is in a
Lamborghini.
few years as well, in a few years. Because you're trying to make it happen in a few months, which it can happen.
Yeah.
The thing is, if it does happen and you buy a Lamborghini in a few months, I'm sorry, but I've seen people go through this. You are going to end up blowing that account and having to sell that Lamborghini again because that foundation just wasn't strong. And
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't
God
learned that
forbid, like
those
some,
foundational lessons just yet.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And some
Right.
people actually end up a lot worse off than they were before they got that Lambo because they got it on a lease. They lost all their accounts. Now they got to pay that lease. They can't afford to anymore. They got to build things back up, and they end up with a lot of debt.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to just take it easy. Like good things takes time.
Yeah.
You cannot try and build an empire like in a few months. You can, but again, if you do, it's probably going to come crashing down because the foundation is weak.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Walter, Michael, thank you guys for joining. It's always a pleasure. And yeah, we'll
Absolutely.
definitely be doing more of these. So until next time, I don't know what topic, but we'll be covering some very good topics as well. But yeah, I wish you both a good trading day and we'll catch up soon.
Sounds
This is
good.
awesome. Thanks, guys.
Take care, guys.
Thanks,
Have a
guys.
good evening.
Have a good one. And to all the viewers, if you enjoyed this podcast, go ahead, leave a comment, ask us your questions, right, for the next podcast, and we'll probably cover them. But yeah, otherwise, hit that like button, share it with your friends, join us on Discord. Discord's very important. We're really trying to push up the Discord right now. And there's going to be exclusive competitions on there as well. So if you're a competitive soul, you'll probably enjoy it. But other than that, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you again very soon with more podcasts. Take care.